Hi, I'm Khánh Linh, and I'm a grade 12 student from Lê Quý Đôn Đống Đa High School. So, in a world where gender norms continue to dictate our lives, I'm going to tell you about a friend of mine whose story demonstrates the persistent specter of gender inequality. So here's the story. For 2 years, my friend had devoted his time to growing his hair long, which is a personal choice rooted in self-expression. And with each passing day, his once short buzz cut transformed into a cascade of beautiful long black hair, reminiscent of the hair that many people have dreamed of. And I personally really admire his confidence as a male to grow his hair long without being bothered by other people's gazes. However, within the confines of the society that we are living in, his hair somehow became entangled, but with the strong objection and opposition from some adults, including his family members. They not only forced my friend to cut his hair down to the length that they deemed as the socially acceptable length for men, but also a lot of times questioned my friend's sexuality publicly in front of a lot of people with an attitude. They have said that only people with gender dysfunction dress and act differently from the sex that they were born with. And moreover, they have stated that only people like with gender dysfunction dress and act differently from the sex that they were born with, and the experience were distressing to my friend, if you ever imagine. And it was distressing, and this blatant discrimination from this group of adults is an obvious example that highlights the pervasive nature of gender inequality that still persists in our modern society. According to UN Women, 3 out of 4 people globally, which equals to 75% of the world's population, state that they see or hear stereotyping in their own environment on a daily basis, which means that there is a variety of people encountering the same situations and problems that my friend did. And from this example, I want to say that these arbitrary gender norms are limiting and pressuring people to a certain restrictive type of image that is associated with gender. And this type of image is referred to as gender norms. These are the societal expectations and rules about not only just hair, just clothing and appearance of a person, but also because self-expression can take many forms. So these gender norms are also about the characteristics and traits that ought to be possessed, and the roles that should be performed by men and women regarding on their gender and how they should behave, how they should express themselves and interact with others according to their sex. For instance, men are usually shaped into the concept of being masculine, assertive, and competitive, while women are thought to be more compliant, more emotional, and passive. And not vice versa. If you are a man and you cry in front of people, or you grow long hair just like my friend did, you will be considered as fragile and cannot be as manly as others. And likewise, if you're a girl and you pursue any of the male-dominated sports, for example, people will think that you do not fit in the standards of being girly anymore. And these are just some examples to demonstrate the situation that many people are going through right now. And these gender norms force both men and women to behave in not self-wanted manners, but the socially expected behaviors. And because they are the victims of these gender stereotypes, that they choose to hide their authentic selves and camouflage the true identities. And at times they can even be bullied if they do not follow the gender norms. The pressure is there, and it can cause people extreme emotions that can severely take a toll on both their confidence and their mental being. And if you have experienced this once or even multiple times in your life, you will know that it feels painful. And there is another negative impact that the victims of gender stereotypes may suffer from, because not only do gender norms affect people's inner self, it can also have an influence on men and women's career choices and opportunities. So for example, girls may be discouraged from pursuing careers such as politics or law enforcement, while boys may face stigma for choosing caregiving professions like nursing or teaching. But the one and only who is applying gender norms onto people, is the society. But these problems cannot be tackled if the society continues to be indifferent to them like this. But why? Why is it so hard for the society to fully let these people live normally? There is still the gossip on how feminine this guy looks just because of him wearing a skirt. Or whether there's something wrong with that girl's sexuality because she is a mechanic and working in a workplace full of men. Again, there's nothing wrong with those people. And what if that girl's sexuality is different from what we think is normal? And women, why judging women? Because they are capable enough, and they are capable enough of doing jobs that are usually undertaken by men. Also, women can wear pants without the society immediately deciding that it means they're gay or transgender. So why can't men have the same luxury with dresses? Is masculinity so fragile that we cannot wear breathable and comfortable clothing and retain our identities? Do they deserve all the discrimination? The solution to this problem, indeed, is very simple. It is to accept that everyone has their own right to fully express themselves in every category possible without being judged, without being discriminated against, just because they do not act as their gender. And also, we should normalize discovering our gender identities. It can be male, it can be female, or it can be another gender. And we should respect each and everyone's gender identity, because it is one of the ways for people to be true to themselves. Together, we can create a more equitable society where everyone will thrive and have the same equal opportunities to succeed if we unite to break down the restrictive gender norms and to promote inclusivity. Everyone, each and every of us, has a role to play in this movement toward gender equality. And everyone should be aware of how much it would mean to a lot of men and women out there whose voices need to be heard, whose stories need to be listened to be understood, and to be accepted. They contribute to a huge, crucial part of the world's diversity. And they are nothing different from normal people. It's just that we are seeing them in a different light and making false assumptions about them because of the traditional judgments and perspectives. And the final thing I want to say is that to be kind and embrace human diversity. We should not let diversity be an obstacle that holds us back from the societal growth and development just because we see people that are not similar to us. And the world is a wonderful place where people from every race, every culture, every different ethnicity, with different minds and personalities, a lot of differences, live together and cooperate. And we should embrace that because the diversity of people is the beauty of being human. Thank you.